Hi everyone, welcome to Everything Spice. My name is Tanya. Today I've decided to do a German apple cake, and I wrote it down. Okay, German apple cake, German apple cake. Why not? I have a ton of apples and I needed to get rid of them, so I decided to do that. Now let's give you the recipe, because my mise en place is on point. Okay, here's what I got. I'm gonna do it in stages. There's the base, which is a half a cup of butter, room temperature. That's room temperature, okay? 2/3 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1 egg together. Okay, let's see, 2 cups of flour. I got it all mixed in. So this is 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and a pinch of salt. And that's all together, my friends. And that's the base, the base, the base, the base, okay? It's all about the base. There's my first pun. Now, I got the apple filling, which is 5 apples I got here. Can you see them? Can you see them? Can you see them? I have peeled them, cored them, and now I'm dicing them. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. Okay, and that is one of the steps. Probably like the middle base. Now I'm trying to dice them really well because I don't want too big of an apple in this. So kind of like that. You can probably grate them in too, but I want a little bit of texture with my apples. So I'm gonna cut them like that, lightly, so you don't hear it on the glass top. Like, you know, the Nazi chef. No apple cake for you. Okay. The last thing is the crumble, because this is going in a crumble. Yes. Yes, Riebchen, crumble. So what we're doing with the crumble, I already got it set up. Ooh, 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 it's so crumbly. Crumble, baby. Look at that, crumbles. Crumble, and that's gonna go on top, okay? Now this crumble, if you're paying attention, is a half a cup of butter. Yeah, another half a cup of butter. 2/3 cup of sugar. It seems like it's repeating itself, but I already did it already. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. A little different, but that makes that crumble. I got a spring form pan. Yeah, spring form, okay? That way it goes, unleashes, and then it comes out, right? It's got a removable base here, and they're fabulous. The dough is gonna go in here first, but what I did was I greased it. And then what I have is a parchment I cut out and I buttered as well. And that's what is gonna make the base come out easier versus sticking. We don't want no stickage. We don't want no stinking stickage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut up these, dice these apples, and add that cinnamon, 5 apples, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, if I didn't say that. So they got cinnamon, and then I got a topping on here. And why might I add this? I saw this in a store and I was shocked, excited, and said, yeah, baby, yeah. Cinnamon Toast Crunch cinnamon. What? Oh yeah, baby. It is an actual thing. So let's open it up. Wish you had smell-o-vision, don't you? Don't you wish your smell-o-vision was on point? Yeah, I know, I do. But this is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah, let's see. Vanna, what is this? You won. Yes, we won the whole kit and caboodle, baby, with this one. And I'm going to be using it. Probably in the apples, probably everywhere, probably shaking on everything at this point. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty, shake your booty. Okay, enough silliness. Let me get this diced up and I'll be back. I'll be back. German apple, baby. Yeah, yeah. to show you the base, the base. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So what we're gonna start on right now is the base of the German apple cake. Okay, and I gave you the ingredients. I have my handy dandy food mixer. Okay, a stand mixer, whatever you wanna call it. Got my hook in, or my blender in. And we're gonna start with, let's see, we'll do the butter. Butter. We're gonna cream the butter first. And like I said many times on my show, baking is steps. Baking is definitely scientific. There's reasons behind it. And one of the things we have to do is cream the butter. Very important. Very importante. So let's do that. You can have it on low. Whip it on high. This is what gets it, the bowl rolling. The room temperature butter is super important to blend. It has to be blended before you add anything else. So that's why they ask you to have it room temperature. So mine was frozen. I freeze my butter. I buy it on sale. I had such a good deal on butter at the store that I went a little cray and bought like 5 or 6 of them. Hey, it's name brand and it's on sale. Oh, hello. Holidays are coming and I do a lot of baking during the holidays. This is fall and you're gonna notice that my channel is gonna blow up with uploads because fall, baby. Favorite time of the year. All right, creamed, done. Next step, let me see if I can show you. Come to the bowl, come to the bowl. Hang on here, let me lift this up. Look at how creamed that is. Now that's what it has to look like before we can move on. And the next step, now I've said this before on my show, but if you're new, and you could be, and if you are, welcome. Everything's spice, welcome to the show. With butter, any type of liquid, what you do in baking is you separate the liquid from the dry and then you combine them together. Usually the liquid goes into the dry. In this instance, where there's butter, we're not gonna add any liquid at first. What we're gonna add is the sugar. So the sweetener goes in after the butter is creamed. And I'm not sure why, we could look it up on Google, maybe we could find it out. But that's always the step, is that in this instance, we have to use the sugar first. And we have to get the sugar creamed into the butter, emulsified into the butter, because you don't want any type of, maybe this is the reason. I'm gonna go with it. Sugar needs to have less grit to it and it has to combine into the butter. And that's why we use it next. Otherwise, it probably might stay in that gritty kind of state. Doesn't it sound good? Hello, let's just go with that, okay? It sounds logical to me. And maybe it sounds logical to you. Let's just go with that, okay? If not, Google it and let me know. Let me know. I could be wrong. All right, so I'm gonna add the sugar and get that all combined. Voila. Go a little crazy with it. And let that go for a little bit so that way the sugar can combine with the butter. Melt in. Combine really nicely. Come see what I mean. See what it's doing? It's like the oneness of it. The sugar has combined with the butter. And it's creamed together quite nicely. Maybe go a little bit. It's actually increased in volume, if you see that. Look how beautiful that looks. You can also scrape that down as well to make it more, yeah, I know there's a lot of shaking, rattling, and rolling going on there. Apologies for that, but we need to like see. I want you to not just, I don't just want to talk about it. I want you to see it for yourself, because a lot of people, if you're like me, you're visual and you don't just want to, hear somebody drowned on and on about something. But if you see it, then you'll be able to repeat it, right? And that's the whole point of this. I want you to make this yourself for your family. Maybe your heritage isn't German. Mine isn't. But just because your heritage isn't German doesn't mean you can't make a German apple cake. Come on now. The whole point of these beautiful cultures that came to this country was to share their food, their love of their food and their culture with people, right? That's why we have restaurants, so we can share what we learned from our own countries and introduce it to you so that you can like incorporate it as part of your family. So that's why I like all different types of genres. When you look at my channel, it's not just American food, it is all over the map because I'm bored with the same thing all the time. My culture's Portuguese, French, Irish, English, Indian. I'm all over the place. I'm like a mutt. My father was mostly Portuguese. My mother was everywhere. At least her family was everywhere. So I have a lot of different cultures in me. But I like to try cultures that I am not part of, like this, German. Okay, so we got this going. The egg goes in next, and the vanilla. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. That in. Voila. Oh, it's sitting with gas. Okay. We don't have to like go crazy with this one a little too much. We'll go a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfecto as far as mixing at this stage. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add the flour, the baking, everything else goes into the pool. And this is where you have to have it on low, otherwise you're gonna be wearing it. Well, I have an apron on, but I don't want to take a flour bath if I don't have to. Just saying, it's no technicality. And let it go a little bit, and then move on with it. And then let it go with it, and move on with it. Do it in increments. It's not something that you can just dump and go. Okay. See that? Look at that. Perfect. It's gonna be that crumbly base. Perfect. Well, that's good. Okay. That's excellent. And it's kind of shaggy, kind of doughy, which it's supposed to be, right? Because it's dough. All right, let me push that aside. Get everything out of the way. And our apples, cinnamon, all look fabulous together. Look at that. Yummy, yummy, yummy to my tummy. All right, now this doesn't even look like it would be anything. Like dough, what? Ain't gonna be no dough. Look at it. Let me bring you to the bowl. Look how shaggy that is. Hang on. Doesn't look like much, right? Doesn't look like it would come together, form together, but look at this. Surprise! It does. It is perfect. It is perfecto. What we're gonna do with this though is we're gonna rest it. So I'm gonna form it into a disc. Hang on here, let me show you. Because it is kind of vet. And I'm gonna get a little bit of flour, like this. Okay. I know there's flour in here. Yes, we do know this, but sometimes, depending on the time of year, the humidity in your kitchen, you need more or less liquid, or you need more or less flour. Okay, you're gonna have to gauge that and learn by hand. That's why a lot of times I will do things by hand versus in mixers and food processors, because there is nothing that replaces your clean dishes. As long as they're cleaned, yes. Okay, so we're gonna form it together. And this is not like bread, friends. This is not like bread. So you don't need to like move it all around, go crazy with it. You just need to form it into a disc. Now this disc, it's a one crusted kind of cake. This is not a double crust. This is a one, and it's an actual crust for a cake, which usually we don't call it crust, right? We call it like batter. But this is a German apple cake, kind of like a pie cake in a sense, because it's got a crust. Only pies have crust, right? And this is gonna go on the bottom of the springform pan. But I'm gonna rest it a little bit, because any type of dough, whether it's bread dough, pie dough, or in this instance, like a cake dough, It has to have a resting period. And this is gonna be very flaky and beautiful. It's gonna be gorgeous, actually. It's gonna be a lot of butter, and butter imparts a lot of flavor in pie doughs. And in this instance, this cake dough. So look how pretty this is. Let me show you. A little bit of flour I'm gonna grab, but look how pretty that is. Isn't that nice? I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it already. So I'm gonna wrap it in plastic wrap. I'm gonna set it into the refrigerator. And then when I come back, I'm going to assemble this gorgeous looking crust and make it into the gorgeous German apple cake. It is going to be the final outcome of this channel, okay? Final outcome of this day. German apple cake, my friends. Stay tuned. We're just beginning to have fun here. Moving on. Let's start with the dough. Let me put it a little lower for you. All right, so I got the dough. And what we're gonna do, let me see if I can get it over here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. There it is. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, it is. Okay, so what we're gonna do with this, and I keep saying okay, and I understand that that's annoying. I don't know why I say it's okay. I guess it's so that I don't say you know how some people do that? But I say it a lot, and I apologize. I'm noticing it in my videos, and I'm like, why do I keep saying okay like a million times? It is not okay to say okay. Here we go. I'm gonna roll it out. And make it into, I might need a little bit of flour. Just so I can work with it a little easier, if you know what I'm saying. Because it is very, very a wet dough, crumbly dough. Pull it out and pull it together and move it around on your board so it doesn't tend to stick in one place, because that tends to happen. And the good thing about it is if it does crumble, which it's obviously clearly doing, doesn't matter. You can just form it back together. It's so like wet. It has a lot of moisture in it, and that lends to it. If it was like a crumblier dough, like really dry dough, you wouldn't be able to do this. It would just break apart and that would be the end of it. But this is really a much easier situation. It's like a puzzle piece. If anything separates, you just stick it back together again. Okay, so let's do this. Keep going with it. Keep rolling it in different directions. And then we're going to put it into the springform pan. But what we have to do is make sure that our springform, that this pie dough, this crust is actually gonna fit this. So we want it over the edges because this is going to be the whole circumference. We're gonna try for that and see what we can do. Let me keep rolling it and I'll come back and show you what I mean. Hang with me. All right, the home stretch is upon us. So what I had to do with this, unfortunately, it didn't roll out good. So I had to use one of these, throw it all in, and just work it like that. Like pat it in, make the walls, use my hands, get it in there, and then make the walls for it by hand because it just wouldn't do it on its own. And that's sometimes something you have to do with crusts that are like very wet. So now it looks really good, and patch it in if it doesn't, and that's how I did it. So what I have here, we are at the home stretch of this fabulousness. German apple cake. I'm taking some margarine, you can use butter. And I always do this with apples. I get all the diced apples with the cinnamon. I also added some nutmeg, and I'm gonna dot the bottom. Doesn't say it in the recipe, but I think apples and butter are a win-win chicken din. So I am doing it. And that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put a bunch in, gauge it according to your tastes. It's margarine versus butter, but butter makes it better, but so does margarine. Margarine can have its purposes. This is frozen, so I had to, everything I have on my butter, my margarine, I freeze so that I can have it at another time. Here's the crumble, the last part of it, and we're gonna put it all in right on top. Just dump it. And this does have butter in it. Flour, sugar. That's gonna mix in and make it so beautiful. So all you do is just zhuzh it around the pan. And then, that looks so good. You can add some more if you want to, but it already has butter on it. But what I'm gonna do with this, you ain't seen none yet. I'm gonna add some of that cinnamon toast crunch on top. Now I already added some, but I'm gonna add a little more. I'm just gonna add a little bit more so it has that color to it and that fabulousness. That looks so yummy. Okay, 355, 50 to 60 minutes, turning it at will. And what you can do too is put a sheet pan underneath just in case there's any leakage on the bottom, because springform pans can do that. When there's a lot of apples do, when the heat hits them, they do give off residual liquid. So just keep that in mind. But I'm gonna show you the big reveal of my beautiful, fabulous German apple cake. Stay tuned, everyone. Welcome back. This is the final reveal. Ah, love that scratching sound. Okay, just took it out, released the spring. Oh, I'm nervous. Let me do this. Voila. Look at that. Looks amazing. Still have the bottom half of the springform pan, but look how gorgeous that is. Look at the crust. Look how golden brown it is. And all it really needs to even elevate it to the next level, some powdered sugar. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put some powdered sugar on this, and this is going to elevate it from fantastic to just plain faboo. All right, look at this. Okay, just dust a little powdered sugar all over the top. I mean, this is amazing. This looks spectacular. I'm in love with this. So nice, so pretty. And you can put as much or as little as you want as far as powdered sugar, but look how pretty it is. Because of the crumble top, it'll stick and it'll look so gorgeous. And tell me, this would not be a fantastic Christmas, New Year's, winter dessert with a little bit of sprinkling? It'd be like a little snow on top. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes, yes, and yes. This is a gorgeous German apple cake. Just simply delicious. I think your friends, you show up with this as a hostess gift during any holiday party with your friends. Look, they would be more than impressed. Here you go. This is it. Voila! Little powdered sugar, a little fabulousness, German apple cake. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. And join me next time on Everything Spice. Be safe, everyone.